Okay, so on the table today I've got Daystate Rangemaster Sovereigns. Yeah, I might be slightly biased on this one because I really do like these pellets. When I first got them I took one look at the tin and thought, yeah, these look like a typical over-designed buy me type, look at me, buy me, look at me, look at me type pellet. Um, Yep, I was pleasantly surprised, and I've never really turned back, to be honest. I have tried other pellets, and as you'll see as we go on, this table will soon start getting rammed full of pellet reviews. So these are priced between £9 to £11. I went on 3 websites to do my research and came up with a price to get a mean price for the overall scores of the pellet. Measured the usual 32 and checked them for the variation, so we'll look at the spread of the data in the 4 areas that I deem critical to a pellet's flight path. Yeah, as I said, £9 to £11, so sort of mid to, competitively priced, is slightly higher priced everyday plinking pellet. You get 500 in a tin. They're 8.44 grain. They come in just about every size. I think they come in 0.2 and they come in at 0.22 as well. I've got the 2.2s. I'll do them on a different day. There's no major rush. Inside the tin, it's a typical pop tin, as I call them. We'll place that nicely there and try and tidy this up. When you open it, you get one of these little makeup pads to do your makeup, put your cam cream on. They're there to protect the pellet. I usually have one in the bottom and one in the top these days. When it sort of fills down, just to kind of compact it out with a bit of toilet tissue or sneezy tissue. These are great. Give them to the wife, give her some lead poisoning. Why should she have all the fun? Inside the tin, there's actually not much swarf in the bottom there and debris, which I've seen with cheaper pellets, which is a good sign because it means that these come out of the factory relatively clean. The coating on them, which you sometimes get a bit of flaking on, doesn't seem to occur with them. They're quite a nicely packaged pellet. Generally what I find is when you get these little makeup pads, if you see one of them in your pellet tin, it's very rare you're going to be disappointed with the quality of the pellet. You're going to get quite accurate sort of shots out of it. These are the pellets, a little bit of a close-up there. So as you can see, it's a typical Diablo round-headed pellet. This is, I would say, a mid-radius pellet, so obviously the bigger the radius, the flatter the head. So you think of a H&M field target, which is quite a tight radius. VMXs are actually quite a big radius. They're almost like a aero wad cutter, in my opinion. We'll review them later on. I'm going to get another tin because I didn't weigh them. So we'll carry on with these Daystates. The balance of the pellet, as you can see there, the weight of it actually works out to about 1 millimeter towards the tail where the waist is, so 1 millimeter towards the tail from the waist, which makes it about 50%. So basically the first 50% of the pellet is all lead. Some of that on other pellets, as you'll see as this catalogue builds up, some of them don't really have that kind of format. They sort of have a really thick wall right the way down. What's the softness like of the pellet? Let's take this one and give it the elf finger test. Deformation. Didn't deform too much on the old finger test. Now the camera won't focus as always. Let me just try and reset that there we go, trick it into doing it. As you can see, not much deformation in the elf finger test, just the tail gets damaged a bit, and that's, as I said, because all the weight is at the front. You've got a solid bit of lead there. I shot these out. I shoot these regularly out to sort of 45-50 yard shots, and they always land on the target within half an inch of wherever I want to shoot it. Quarry wise, makes a nice tight little hole. To be honest with you, I really struggle sometimes to try and find out exactly where I've hit it, but I've never been disappointed with where I've aimed on any target. I'm not just talking obviously quarry. Deformation wise, as you can see, they do deform, but I haven't got any real test data on that. That's a whole other science that I'm not really going to get involved in with these reviews. This is the target, so on target, so it's the 25-yard indoor standard test on the Hawk with a 9 mag or with the air arms resting off a bag. As you can see there, we've got this grouping this is 2 groups, 10 pellets each. This one's 7mm across, and then this one works out. It's going to be a bit of a nightmare to do, but that essentially just going to take my word for it, I think, and see that that one's 10mm. So on the scores, I've reflected that as a 9.5. Just kind of met myself halfway and been a bit tough on the pellet, mainly because a lot of people think that these are JSB exacts. They do come out the JSB factory. I mean, I've never been there and seen them, but you know, it's just pretty common knowledge that that's where they come from. But I think that these a tighter tolerance pellet, basically. I think instead of like JSB, they may use a tolerance of 5% from nominal. Daystate maybe use the JSBs that are only 2% from nominal, you know, the higher sort of graded ones. But we'll get some JSBs on the table in the not too distant future. Let's look at the scores on the doors for this. So as you can see, we've got Rangemaster, the Rangemaster Sovereigns. It's an aerodome, 8.44 grain. So the dimensional spread out the samples that I did on the height was 0.05 millimeter. The bore, or what I call the bore, which is actually the head diameter, is 0.02. So that's really tight. Very little variation there. Skirt, you get quite a bit of variation. Not quite sure why that is. But yeah, that's the way the cookie crumbles, I'm afraid. And the weight, 0.02 of a grain, 0.2 sorry of a grain. The quality score of all these added together comes to 0.045. That is exceptionally tight. Now you've obviously got nothing to compare this against at the minute, but I know that is very good pellet. When it comes to variation, there's very little difference between one pellet to the next. So on the scoreboard, like I said, this is what I found. So that the mean price of the 3 sites that I looked at, which are basically the first to come up on the internet, came to £9.83p, I believe that says. And then you've got 500, you've got quality score 0.045, a delivery score of 9.5 millimeters, which gives it an overall score of 1.44. Comments that I've made about this: very good quality pellet, relatively clean, excellent accuracy out to 45 meters, and does go further on better scopes. Ideal pellet for precision. So that's quite a good report. On the leaderboard, this is where it sits, number 1, but only because we haven't got that many pellets on there. Now you can see this is filtered. Yes, there is stuff hiding behind there. It will be made clear in the foreseeable future. But as you can see there, so against the score matrix up the top there, you know, it scores a 3 for price. It scores a 3 for quantity on price. So that's your cost side of things done. Your quality, it actually scores a 4 for that, just. And delivery, it scores a 4 as well, giving it, like I said, the grand total of 144 points. Yep, what can I say? You know, out of the barrels that I've tried, and I've tried this in quite a few different rifles only because I've been shooting these for such a long time, in anything that I've fired these in 177 has been absolutely perfect when it comes to accuracy. Yeah, I don't think you're going to be disappointed if you get these pellets. I certainly think if you get a chance, give them a go. You know, if someone lends you 3 or 4 of them, give it, like I said, give it a go, see what you think. That concludes this review. We'll see how they get on in the scoreboard. So we've got 5 or 6 different pellets in there, see if they're still top. Thanks for listening, thanks for watching, and as always, stay safe and shoot straight. Thank you very much, bye.